and then I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint. Okay. All right. I can't really see many people on here. So, Liz, are you on here right now? Can you unmute yourself if you are on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Hi, Liz. Will you talk real quick about this week, and then we'll get into our convention recap?
Okay, somehow I got muted again and I was talking. Anyway, I am super excited for this Thursday night's stories event. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Hannah Richardson is taking the lead on it. She has like a fire in her after convention. And I'm super excited to just like capitalize on all of that energy, all of that momentum, and just keep going. So I know it's kind of like it's happening Thursday, but let's do it. Like, let's keep the ball rolling. If you just went to convention, if you weren't at convention, dive in tonight and here and let's get inviting because it's going to be good. Short and sweet. We're thinking like 15 minutes. Those calls just seem to be really impactful and everyone's busy in the summer. So yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you, Liz. And Sheila Medina, who's a good friend of mine, she's the first diamond within Plexus. She has been doing something similar to this every single week with her Canadian team. And she said to me last week that that has been so incredibly impactful for the growth of their business, for the people, like Liz said, who utilize these calls. So jump on this Thursday with some people from your team and with potentials. It will be short and sweet. Next week, we are having July 1st is a Monday, and that is the first day of the month. We are going to have a very special guest. If you guys can see in this picture right here, somebody holler. I can't see the chat. Somebody holler, unmute yourself. Who is that that's going to be our guest speaker next Monday night?
Keith Callahan.
You guys, isn't that exciting? So that's going to be Monday night next week. Keith Callahan, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard, 8 p.m. Central. We're going to do about 30-ish minutes with him, and then we're not going to rush that time though, because this is going to be good and rich. And so then the last little bit of that section, last 20-30 minutes, then we're going to do the gap and the gain book study, getting back into that, and we will be reading chapter 4. So that's what we have caught up on with calendar stuff. So let's jump into convention. This was a really beautiful convention. I've heard from so many people it was one of the best conventions they've ever been to. I've been to 7 of them, and I agree. I really liked the very bottom here. I have the quote. It says, "It doesn't get easier, you get stronger." That was one of our keynote speakers who said that. That really stood out to me, and I really love that for our team. Doesn't get easier, but you get stronger. So some quick recap announcements. This is so exciting. This year alone, just over the past 6 months, you guys, we have already had over 700 company-wide. We've already had over 700 new golds and senior golds, like in the past 5 months. That's huge. 700, over 700. In this past year, over the past 6 months, we've already had 39 brand new emeralds, 12 new sapphires, and 6 new diamonds. So to me, that screams growth. That is so exciting. Like, I would love for you guys to put in the chat like how that makes you feel, seeing that upward movement, that growth within our company. It makes me really hopeful and really excited to see how many of you guys are going to hit those thresholds the rest of this year. So if you guys can see here, Sweet Tea is back and it's here to stay. We not only have it as in the XOS version, the MBA version, we also have it in Hunger Control Formula. That is a permanent staple now within our different flavors with Slim. That's exciting. Another really big, exciting announcement that they mentioned was that they're going to have a brand new international market expansion announcement next summer. So that's huge because they were talking about how that's going to help our pay point, that's going to help our team growth, that's going to help our businesses, and it's going to help to continue to make Plexus worldwide. So I'm so excited about that. One of the things that I went to for like a jewel breakout, I wanted to share this with you guys. Take note of this. Was a lady who was talking about like different generations and selling to different generations, getting different generations attraction with your verbiage. So keep in mind, this is something that stood out to me. Using the term join us is a no, but change it up to let's get started. Like when you're in your post or when you're having conversations with people, take away the hey, join us or join me and change it out for let's get started. See how that works. Another thing she said, don't say sponsor or upline in your post or in your messages. Say trusted guide, or like if I'm talking to Brianna, like, hey, I'd love to be your sponsor. I'll sponsor you, or I'd be your upline. No, I'm going to be your trusted guide. She said those are some small little tweaks that you can have with your verbiage that really stands out to the people that we're connecting with now. If you guys have comments or questions, I can't see the chat, so please unmute yourself if it's something that I'm talking about right here and right now. This is something that nobody on here has heard, and so I wanted to share it with you. So the very last day of convention, Friday, everybody's flying home. I stayed for an exclusive diamond meeting recap, and I wanted to share some really encouraging bits that Jean shared with us. So out of the top global 100 companies, $1 million plus companies, out of global, not just the United States, Plexus is number 29 for direct sales. That's incredible, you guys. Out of the entire world, we are number 29. Out of the top US based companies, network marketing companies, we're number 19 out of all US companies, network marketing. Jean made sure to let us know that we are very profitable and we're very financially sound. We're still debt free. We have a great game plan. And he was talking about the corporate goals, like the exclusive, or not exclusive, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting? The big wigs, that their goals are that we will be well over $1 billion in the United States as a company. The executives, that's the word I was looking for. We will have the most six-figure earners in the industry. So this is like from the helm, your top leaders within our company, the executives, this is their goal. This is their focus, is for Plexus to have the most six-figure earners in the industry. That's amazing. The goal is to have us increase our unique share pool, so getting more and more people sharing. The goal is to have over a $3 pay point. Now, last month, our pay point was $2.86, which was the highest pay point we've had in over 4 years. So that growth is so exciting to me. We have another goal of incredible product innovation. I know I've been a tester for one of them that I'm really excited about coming out in the near future. And then another goal is that international expansion. Another thing that they talked about in our diamond meeting was just the power of retention. And they actually gave each diamond an individual snapshot of their business, including their downline, just their business as a whole. And it was really neat to see our business with our retention is actually really, really good. Blake Shaver, who spoke at convention, he's at corporate as well. He's over incentives. He actually came and walked through it with me step by step. And he said, Emily, your team has incredible retention. So very, very proud of our team for that. So keep up with that. But they talked about the power of retention. And they said, imagine this, we do a lot of work to get a VIP, to enroll a VIP. And, you make about $40, $36 to $40 when you enroll a VIP in that 1 month, right? But if you can enroll and retain that one VIP for a year, you're making $212. So $40 versus $212. There's power in that retention and taking care of your customers. Another goal that they talked to us about, and they gave us they gave us point growth and income growth for the average diamond. So I'm actually waiting to hear back from Blake to share with you guys what that would look like for a non-jewel ambassador. But they gave us this goal of retaining 70% of your customers and you personally enrolling 4 VIPs a month. They showed us that with just diamond, average diamond, he said, if you and your team retain 70% of your customers and you personally are enrolling 4 VIPs a month, you're going to make more than $12,000 extra a year. So there's a lot of power in that. So just keep that in mind. That's a power play right there for business growth.
Hey,
Okay.
Emily, I have a question.
Yes.
Did they give you a percentage that you'd like to share, or is that something you're not comfortable sharing?
Oh, I mean, I'm totally fine to share it. I don't know if it's going to be super beneficial. I sent Blake, he gave us like a screen share, or not a screen share, like he gave us a graph that just showed, like, for an average diamond, that if we let's see, there was a 331 point difference if you have the 70% retention and 4 VIP enrollments. So a 330 point difference, an additional about $1,000 a month additional, and then about $12,000 additional for the year. Is that what you're asking? No.
No, it was, do we have a percentage of retainment or retaining for
I'm
the team?
I'm sorry. Yes, we do. I don't have it with me right now, but we are, I want to say, close to 70% that third month, which is amazing. So I'll go look at my notes later, but I can send you that percentage later. Sorry, I didn't understand your question. Anybody have any questions on that before we move on real quick? Okay, Kanya, she's going to introduce one of the keynote speakers.
Okay. Sorry. I took a lot of notes. I'm going to try to keep this under 5 minutes. I'm going to start my timer because bless if I don't get wordy. I've tried this several times. Okay. So one of the things, if you haven't looked up the Iron Cowboy, look him up. He's on YouTube. He's on Amazon Prime. You can watch the whole documentary. He was absolutely fabulous and an inspiration. If you take everything he's encountered and apply it to our business, there's 0% chance that you will not succeed in your business. One of the things on his documentary says the moment he shows up for something is the moment he's going to finish it. James Lawrence is the Iron Cowboy. He decided to do 50 Ironmen in 50 states in 50 days. He talked with his doctors and their suggestion was, don't do it, you will die. So he had a decision to make, and that was he was no longer going to talk to doctors. I thought that was hilarious, but what I heard in that was he took advice from someone who did not know him. He didn't know what he was capable of and told him what he could or couldn't do and decided for himself what he was actually capable of. Not only did he have outside influencers telling him what he can and cannot do, he also talked a lot about the inner bully, that in the moments in those races when it was hard, that absolutely everyone would have been okay if he quit, that he had to tell his inner bully, yes, I can, yes, I will, and then actually do the thing that his inner bully was telling him that he can't do. Some of the things that he encountered that I just want to touch on that were super inspiring to me. First of all, an Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and then a 26.2 mile run, which that run alone is a marathon. And I don't run unless someone's chasing me. So that's like huge. One of the races, he's doing the biking portion. He doesn't think he can finish because he has a cramp in his leg. That's so bad that he can't even move his leg. So he decides it's either quit or, James, you have one leg. You can do this with one leg. So he finishes that biking portion with one leg. But now he's faced with the running portion, which is a little bit harder to do with one leg. And then his team says, hey, we have someone on the phone for you. And he's like, it's my wife. I'm sure of it. I know she's going to say, I don't want to talk to her. He says, no, actually, it's your daughter. So his daughter gets on the phone and says, Dad, can you finish? She's like, no, honey, I can't finish. She's like, but Dad, can you crawl? He's like, no, I mean, 26.2 miles. He can't crawl that. It's like, but Dad, can you hop? He's like, no. Okay. One last, can you cartwheel? I mean, his daughter was giving him all kinds of options. And he was like, you know what? I have to finish. And he did indeed finish. And he did indeed do a cartwheel for his daughter towards the end. Was it hard? Yes. But did he do it because he figured out other options and had a no quit attitude? Yes. Then he decides one of the 50 that he's going to do, he's also going to be pulling a young man that has CP. There's a lot of trouble that they find along the way. But one of the things right before they start is the doctors come up and say, hey, he might have a seizure, but it's fine. What? So then the gun goes off and he goes in the water. So in the beginning, he's thinking, what am I going to do if he has a seizure? Like, he's checking on him. What am I supposed to do? I know nothing about the medical team, but what he does know is swimming and Ironmans. He can't do anything about him even if he does have a seizure in the middle of the water. So he stops focusing and catastrophizing all the what ifs that might happen. and he focuses on what he can control, and that's what he knows to do. And that at the moment was swimming. So he finishes his swimming. They run into trouble with biking. They figured that out. They run into trouble with the marathon portion, and they figured that out. Dayton himself could not do an Ironman, but James could. And so he did. He had a no quit attitude. He finished the 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 states that seemed impossible. And then he decided to do one more day and make it 51. So he didn't just quit where he said he was going to quit. He set his own standards through the whole thing. As if that wasn't enough, he decides, I'm going to conquer 100 and do 100 Ironmans in 100 days. And so he does that as well. And in those days, so he's doing all that. And on day 59, he gets in an accident and he has to do 41 Ironmans with a broken back. So he does that. Not only during those 100 days, on day 80, well, I'll back up to the fact that like he has to do one of the 100 days inside because the weather conditions were just not having it. And so all the haters on social media were like, well, you didn't actually do it. You didn't actually do it. And I dare say that those people probably haven't even run a mile in their life, but they have all these opinions on how he completed it. But what he said was he did it with integrity and he felt good about finishing the race and making those choices for himself. And he still felt like he completed 100 Ironman in 100 days. So he's thinking things can't get worse. But day 80, he's going to go on social media and he's going to encourage his followers and all of this. And he shares the clip of him talking to social media on day 80 because he had terrible shin splints. He wasn't even sure how he was going to stand up. He even is thinking he's going to have to quit. And all he says to his followers is, I'm going to try today. So sometimes in our businesses, that's all that we can do is try today. And that's going to have to be good enough on some days. And some days you finish it in record time. Lo and behold, somebody has created carbon plates and brings them mid-race to take the load off of his shins. If he had quit, he would not have met his goal because he had no way of knowing that just around the corner was going to be someone who was going to take the load off of what he was carrying. So all of this to say, set your own standards. If the IPA across the team is not reaching your goals, you can't blame the team because you now get to set your own standards for your IPA. If you need to send 5 messages, 10 messages, 30 messages to create your own standards, then that's what you need to do. He surrounded himself with a team who was also running the same race. Nobody was going to let him quit. They kept saying, here we go, get up, let's do this. Surround yourself with people, but sometimes he was running by himself and he had to fight that inner bully by himself. And so we also have to do that in this business. And then the last thing I will say is that he kept going back to the thing that he doesn't have to run these races. He gets to. We don't have to do this business. We get to change lives and we get to help others. And so if you haven't watched Iron Cowboy, I highly recommend it because if that isn't the picture of resiliency that we need to be reminded of in this business, I don't know what is.
Thank you, Kanya. So tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. my time, I've got his recording from convention scheduled to post in Rising Jewels. So if you want to go back and listen to his entire speech, we highly recommend it. It's so good. Okay, next up, we've got Carrie Compton. She's going to go over the general sessions recap. If you guys are not comfortable seeing the PowerPoint, just expand your view so you can see more people. But I'd like to keep with this PowerPoint so we kind of have a flow of what we know we're doing. So Carrie, go ahead and start with the general sessions recap on what stood out to you the most that's going to help you grow your business.
Okay, yeah, there was a lot of greatness in the general sessions. I think Plexus does a wonderful job of finding really good Plexus testimonies for people to share. But what struck me and that I loved the most was being able to see our leaders within the company, Jean and Alec and Tarl. I mean, they don't have to give their time to be there, you guys. In fact, I was talking to my husband about this earlier, and he works for a multi-billion-dollar company, Sherwin-Williams. They have conventions every year, just like we do. And I asked him, I said, do your CEO, your president, your top leaders in the company, do they come and speak to you guys? And he said, well, they do, but it's probably a lot different than yours. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, all they do is get up there and talk about numbers, sales numbers, how to increase it, what we've done before, how we can do it better. And when I looked back at my notes at what Jean and Tarl and Alec had all said when they individually spoke, the overall consensus that I saw at all of theirs was it was very others focused. It wasn't about sales. They did not get up there and talk to us about how we can increase our numbers and, do better and what we've been doing wrong. And this is what we're going to do going forward. It was about how do you make those people that you're bringing in better. Others focused completely. I love that. Actually, Casey used this in her post earlier today, and it was the first thing that I wrote down in my notes for convention. Jean said, greatness is not achieved in isolation. And that can obviously translate to our business, meaning, we can only get so far in our business ranking up without, but the way that he was thinking about that is, you guys, we're here to bring other people, build people up, maximize their greatness is what he said. This is when it comes down to focused. Were you talking?
Well, is it cutting out
Okay.
for other people? I see. Okay, Carrie, it's cutting out pretty bad, so we can't really hear you. And I know you have such a value
Okay.
to add.
Let me go inside.
Okay, let's go to the next person while you go inside, and then we'll come back to you, okay, Carrie? Because I know you have really great things to say. Next, we're going to go to Gina. Gina's going to talk about Restore, which we all know about because of Reset, but this is a standalone product now, and they had so much information. So, Gina, why don't you take it away to do a quick overview of Restore?
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay. I have a ton of notes, but I too am going to set a timer so that I do not go over time. So I'll be honest with you. I did not like Restore in the Reset. And I think probably most of us felt that way. So when they announced it, regular line, I was like, oh, great. I'm not really excited until I heard them really talk about what its purpose was, because I didn't really understand its purpose. And when they said liver, it really touched my heart because my husband was diagnosed with fatty liver disease last December, and has made a lot of changes on his own to remedy that. But I wanted to know more about how this could be another tool for him. So the liver is the largest internal organ. It has over 500 functions, and it's the natural filter of the body. And it is a detox product that is used to get out things like the toxins and the metals and the things that we get from the environment, from some of our medications, from our diet, from pollution, alcohol. And, our day and age that we live in now is full of a lot of chemicals. And I think we all know that. It was never something that I was very concerned about until I became more familiar with Plexus. The Restore has 3 blends, and that's what I thought was really interesting, that helps detox and repair your liver at a cellular level. There's the detox blend, which has spirulina, spinach, and aloe vera, and that helps your liver perform better. And then there's a digestion blend, which has ginger root and peppermint leaf in it, and that helps soothe that detox process. And I think one thing that we notice with even the triplex when we put people on products is the detox sometimes is what scares them away or makes them quit. So this digestion blend is going to help them through that detox process. And then it also has an appetite blend that has berberine in it that helps regulate the appetite hormones, particularly ghrelin and leptin. Had no idea what those were. I'm not a sciencey person, but I did some looking up about those. And it was really interesting to me how many things those those hormones affect all the things in your body that it does. So if you, I'm not going to go through all that. I encourage you to look that up and see just how much those hormones do in your body and how many things. It helps you manage your calorie intake so that you can make better choices. Because this is a detox process, it's important to do that, because fat is where we store our toxins, and we don't want to store fat. Most of us don't. I mean, I don't, so I don't think you do either. And one of the analogies that they used was, you know, how would your vehicle run if you never changed the oil filter? Relate that to your body. If you never changed the oil filter and cleaned out that gunk that builds up in there, then your vehicle's not going to work. Well, your body's not going to work either without that detox process. Excuse me. And it comparative to the Slim Hunger Control, when you talk about the appetite part of it, Restore influences the appetite signal. It works with the gut-brain axis and the neuropeptide Y. Neuropeptide Y does these things. It controls these things: food intake, storage of energy as fat, reducing anxiety and stress, reducing pain perception, affects the circadian rhythm, your sleep, reducing voluntary alcohol intake, lowers your blood pressure, controls epileptic seizures. The fact that it can help regulate that one thing that has so many functions in your body is amazing to me. And in comparison to the Slim Hunger Control, which we know has the polydextrose and the fiber in it, and it boosts the GLP-1 production, that helps reduce that, as Dr. Hartman said, the feeling of starvation at mealtime. It helps you not want to eat your way out of the refrigerator when you get home. That's kind of the sciencey things about it that I think were pretty good, and I'll try to keep it because my timer's going off. But there are 2 new combos that you need to know about, and all of in the Go app, which is pretty good. I'm getting to like it better. All of the information about the products, about the combos, is in the Go app, and you should look at that. But if you want to know how to take it, I got it right here. I took it last night as I guess, a cold drink. Tonight it's warm. I've got a sore throat, and I thought, why not? And that is definitely my best way to take it for me. It's very versatile, though. You can take it anytime, but night is the optimal time. You can take it cold or slightly warm, like a tea. If you're working towards weight loss, 2 servings a day are recommended, and 30 minutes prior to mealtime. You can mix it with water, slim, greens, lean protein, and at minimum, use it daily. But here's what I want to tell you. You got to use it daily, and you got to use it for a while. And I think, and I'm not sure I wrote down who said this. One of the presenters. So she took it for 10 weeks, and it wasn't until week 6 that she started losing weight. And she said, then it just fell off. And in 4 weeks, she lost 17 pounds. To me, that's just phenomenal. And what I really liked, what spoke to me, all you young people, was that the presenters were all about my age. And the fact that they felt this product was so valuable to my generation as well really made an impact for me. Invite everybody to try it. It's for everybody. It's not just for my age or my generation. It can go with any combo, any products. It's just a complimentary product to add to your routine. Lots of good stuff about Restore. I hope that helps.
Gina, you did amazing. Great job. Thank you for that. And you guys, I think I put it in today in Rising Jewels. I believe there are 3 different YouTube links that talk in detail about the Restore, including the people who spoke at General Session and then the panel, I believe. And these are all crunchy women who care about ingredients. One thing I will say is I have seen a couple of diamonds who are testers, like product testers for it. And multiple of them are saying that they are in menopause or in perimenopause struggling with their sleep, and that this is the first time in a long time that they've been able to clock 8 hours of deep sleep, because they had been waking up every couple of hours, and that the sleep has been incredible for them by utilizing the Restore. So I'm excited to see what this is going to do for our people and for ourselves. It's gonna be great. Okay, let's go back real quick to
Can I say one more thing? So just the flavor difference,
Yes.
what they did to make it better is they added more lemon and reduced the berry. That's how they made it better, Dr. Hartman said. So it is better.
Thank you. I forgot about that. Okay, Carrie, take it away for just another couple minutes.
Okay. Did you guys hear any of what I said before? Because I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah, we heard a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I was saying was that, having our top leaders, CEOs, founders, presidents coming to speak to us and like pour into us and not stress us about numbers and sales was pretty incredible, because you don't get that from other companies. I already talked about Gene, and the quote that I loved the most was, "Greatness is not achieved in isolation." Charles spoke on day 2, and the thing that he said immediately that really stuck out to me was that this cannot just be about the products. And for him to say that to me was like, whoa, okay, that's huge. While he was talking, like, his whole thing was growing your network, but the way he was talking about growing your network was, don't do it with the intention of, I'm going to grow my network. I'm going to ask these people to come and be my friend, my social media friend. And then eventually I'm going to get around to asking them about Plexus. No, don't let that be your intention. You have to add value first. And you start small, start with a small promise to them. Like, if you're on your stories and you've posted a recipe and someone maybe missed that recipe in your story and they message you about it, promise that you're going to send it to them. Promise you're going to send them the link to your favorite leggings. Add value to them. That way they trust you. And when the time comes, they will trust you when it comes to bettering their health or, building things financially for their families. But I just really loved the fact that his immediate, straight out of the box was, don't let this just be about the products. This is about the people. And then on the last day, Alex spoke, which he's always my favorite. I really loved him. There's a saying that people say a lot, and I've never liked this saying, that they're a natural born leader. They're a natural born, they were born to lead. I don't think that's true about anybody. I'll just say it. Like, I don't think that any of us come out of the womb and grow up being a natural born leader. I think that there are things in our life that are placed along the way, people that are placed along the way that teach us how to be a leader. And he said, effective leaders aren't born, they are made. And I think that's really important when it comes to our business, is that we have to be able to see people for who they are. If Emily hadn't told me that she saw a leader in me, I would have never put myself in this position in a million years. I never considered myself a leader. So I think it's very important that when we see people, whether they're already doing the business with us, or maybe they're just our friend and they may never join us, is to let them know what we see in them. Let them know that we see the leadership qualities and the greatness in them. And the other quote that I wrote down from him that I really liked is, honor and believe the gifts that you have been given, whether that be just your spiritual gifts, your naturally born gifts, or the gift of this business. You guys, I mean, we've been gifted this, and we have to know that what we have been given. There was somebody else, I think it was Joanna Slavin, that said in the in one of the sessions, maybe session 1, she said, if you're only sharing about the products, you're only sharing half of it. I mean, if we're not sharing about the business, I mean, that's what we are here for. Maybe we were drawn in from for the products, but we're here for the business now. So we have to be able to share that with others. That's all I got.
So good. And you guys, this is like 3 full days of really great content shoved into 5 minutes. So just, I hope that you're able to hear, these are like some of the biggest points that stood out to like touch our hearts, that we feel are so inspiring to share with you guys. So thank you guys for listening, holding on. I know this is maybe a little bit crazy, like all the back and forth, but it is such good information. And I love hearing what stood out to other people, because I may have missed something, you may have missed something. And so it's so good to have these recaps. Okay, let's go on to Lauren and Abby. They did a Jessica Heffley quick 10x growth breakout.
Okay, so I am taking this whole one and I'm so excited. Jessica Heffley is somebody who is very challenging to me. She has really good tangible things to always talk about. And so this one was based off of a book. It's 10 times growth is easier than 2 times growth. It's actually by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. So I'm really excited. The people who wrote Gap and Gain. I'm excited to look into that book. But basically, this whole thing that she was talking about is 10 times growth is easier than 2 times growth because it requires laser focus. That focus is going to require pivoting and changing everything you do. The reason she said that it's easier to have the 10 times growth than the 2 times growth is because when you are having the 2 times growth, you are still trying to do everything for everyone and be everything to everyone instead of doing the one thing that is going to grow your business. When you are doing a 10 times growth, you are laser focused on that one thing that is going to grow your business, and you are helping others get laser focused on that one thing that is going to grow your business. That was huge. And so when she's talking about this, she was talking about how going 10 times, like growing 10 times, is going to require letting go. It's going to require letting go of the stories we tell ourselves, the old beliefs we've had, the old thoughts we've had, the old person we were, because we have grown from that. And we play into our thought lives. She talks a lot about this. If you don't know Jessica Heffley, go look at her podcast. She will challenge you big time, but she talks a lot about how you play your life into your thoughts. And so if you are thinking about the one person who didn't like your products and they had horrid detox and they say they didn't work after 2 weeks versus the people who have been on them for 2 years, the like 100 people you have who've been on for 2 years, but the one person is the person that's holding you back, let go. Let go of that because that is holding you back. That is not going to help you 10 times your growth. Something else she talked about in this, when she began this, she said that when she started 6 months ago, she wanted to quit her business. That was super, super relatable. She was feeling lethargic. She was feeling not focused. She was not feeling motivated. She was just like burnt out. And so the way that she related to people was like, wow, like that's powerful because she's been here for 9-10 years. She's extremely successful and she is still feeling those feelings and she is dealing with things that I have dealt with. And I'm sure so many of us have dealt with. And so that was really powerful seeing that she felt this way. And she got this book, The 10 Times Growth is Easier Than 2 Times Growth. And then she implemented, she put into action that laser focus. And she decided because she hadn't grown a level 1 gold or anything in multiple years, she decided I'm going to do it. And she did. And by the time convention rolled around after those 6 months, her level 1 gold was sitting there in the audience. And so that was super, super powerful. And so what she did was she focused and she zeroed in on exactly what was going to grow her business. And then she focused on that person to help them learn how to focus to grow their business. Super, super powerful. She also talked about like how to get different results. And she highlighted in her podcast, episode 102 is the one that like goes over in detail. And so I'm not going to go over it, but episode 102 in her podcast, Prosperity with Purpose, she talks about having acceptance, awareness, ownership, intentionality, and accountability. And that will help with those 10 times growth. But the thing that stuck out the absolute most is I don't even think this was from the book, but she said that she started because she wanted to make money from home. And I think some of us know that. And then she said, do you want to make money from home? And everybody in the audience is, well, yeah, of course we do. And she said, so does everybody else. Quit thinking that they don't. And it was like, whoa, like how powerful is that? Like I have been thinking that so much of, oh, I'm so afraid to share the business, so afraid. I started for the business. Other people start for the business. People want to make money from home. Quit thinking they don't. Quit making that decision for them. super, super, that was hands down the most powerful part to me. But really like the focus situation, like what's the one thing that's going to move your business forward? Focus in on it, help other people focus in on it. And that's the gist of what I got.
Well, you did awesome. That was great, Ab. Good job. You guys, I'm like, everybody clap for all the presenters already. Like, you guys have done amazing. Just putting this all into one little small little section. Great job. Okay, next up, we've got Caitlin Rhodes and Dayanita, and they're going to talk through the portion on setting goals and achieving them.
I almost forgot I was supposed to go first. Hello, everybody. Okay, so we went to the breakout of, again, how to set goals and actually achieve them. Honestly, this for me was convicting in ways that I didn't expect it to be. All good, but convicting in ways that I didn't expect it to be, and being challenged in just my thought process in belief. Overall, just belief, not even in the business or the products or things like that, because I've seen enough examples of it, it's all good, but belief that I can actually do it. And that I can be successful in this. And so I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I wrote down, and not talk about them too much, because Caitlin's going to share too. But one of the first things that she said that stuck out to me was, you don't have to know the how, you just have to make the decision to go after it. And messy action is still action, it's still forward movement. That's how you gain confidence, that's how you learn, that's how you grow. And you just have to make the decision to just forge ahead and do it. She also talked about, she had a visual, and I was going to pull the picture up on my phone, and it's going to be terrible for you to see, so I'm not going to show it, but she had this visual on her PowerPoint, and it's this beautiful snow-capped mountain in the distance, and down below you're in the valley. You see the mountain up in front, but you're in this valley. And she talked about how nothing grows on the mountaintop. So I don't know if you've ever had the chance to see a mountain where you can see the line of where growth just stops. You can see the line of trees that just stops, and then it's just mountaintop. There's no life out there. But the gift of the valley is that things grow in the valley. And the visual that she had, I don't know if they were blue bonnets or whatever, but just these beautiful flowers in the valley below, at the base of the mountain. And that, just for my season of life, trying to get my thoughts in the right place about what I'm capable of in this business, was just a beautiful reminder of, there's still gifts in the valley, even when it feels hard, even when you're questioning whether or not I should be doing this, am I doing it right, whatever. Look for the things in the valley that are beautiful. Live in the gain, not the gap, basically. She had us do this exercise where we listed our dreams and closed our eyes. I think Caitlin's going to talk about that, but I won't spend too much time on that, other than I wrote some of these things down, which has been such a scary thing for me to do. So for us to be challenged in a session to just, okay, right now we're going to take the time, we're going to sit down. I want you to write down the things, big, small, whatever. What are the things that you're dreaming about? So if you haven't done that, I encourage you to do it, because I wrote things down that I didn't expect to write, which is really cool. She also talked about going back to mindset, like, what am I feeding my brain? And one of the questions that she asked was, use your name, insert your name, but what would Diamond Dayanita do in this? Like, first, let's just even think about Diamond Dayanita, because it's just crazy cool to think about. But what would she do in this situation? What would she do in this conversation? How would she encourage people? How would she not think of herself less, but think of others more in this situation? And she also referenced, I think it's in Proverbs 23, that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So is he. And so again, that was just a big conviction thing for me of, like, stop the self-deprecating talk, because that's not who we're called to be. And just believes that you can do the scary things even though they're scary, because the reality is, setting these goals and achieving them, we are not alone in this. We have people within our team who have gone before, have helped make the way, have helped pave the way, and are so willing to just jump in and help us whenever we need it.
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button and then I was panicking. So what she covered so many good things. And honestly, well, first of all, I wasn't even supposed to go to that session, but Abby felt like I should. And so I broke the rules and went to a session I didn't sign up for. But what was so crazy is where she had us write down our dreams. So before that, she played the song Believe For It that CeCe Williams sings. And then she talked, I don't even remember what she said, but she said all of this amazing inspirational stuff apparently. And it hit me so hard. Like, I really feel like God was in that room and he was like sitting there with me, and like it was the most ridiculous thing. Like tears are like falling down my face. I felt so ridiculous. And then afterward, and she just told us to like envision this future for yourself. And then afterwards she had us write it down. And like, it just, I don't know, it just hit me. And I really didn't even remember a lot of what she said before and after. So I'm glad Danita covered all of that because I don't have much to share with you. But it just was so empowering, just to write it down and to visualize that future and to believe that I can get there. And just a couple things she said that I did write down and did remember her saying was, you don't choose the thoughts that pop into your head, but you can choose the thoughts you hold on to. So, and that kind of, I feel like, you know, the devil whispers things, God whispers things, and we kind of have to navigate what's the truth and what's not. And then she said to find a physical reminder to channel the person you want to be, which kind of goes along where you say, like, what would Diamond Caitlin do? So that's something I'm going to work on, is finding something, a physical reminder for myself. And then the last thing that stuck out to me, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy. So we all have these like big goals that we're working towards. But it's not going to just fall in front of us. Like, we have to work for them and do the hard first. And all of that, just, I feel so motivated and so excited to keep going. And yeah, then like I said, it just hit me. So I would really encourage you to write down your dreams and visualize your future, but also listen to that song at the same time, because it was really powerful. At least for me, it was.
So beautiful. Thank you. If you haven't checked the chat, Danita put the link to that song in the chat, and you'll also see so many people talking about how impactful this convention was. So thank you guys for sharing. All right, let's go to the next. This is from Casey Cox. You guys, we're going to have these graphics in Rising Jewels, but I wanted to put them on here just so you guys can have them like as a visual when she speaks. Go ahead, Case.
Okay, sorry, I've got kiddos coming in. Okay, so my session that I'm covering is the joy of building your business as a mother. And I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of someone who really dislikes schedules and routines. Okay. I know some people love them, and that is great. I'm trying to learn to love them. They make me feel like claustrophobic. I don't know if anybody else feels that way by a schedule, like locked in. And I feel like a routine is a more flexible option, but when I go over the things I'm going to say, I think you're going to see too, if you don't have a good, solid routine in place, it's holding you back in your business. One of the things that they said is manage your time instead of your time managing you. So especially if you were back in the really common Dave Ramsey financial planning stage, you've heard where they say manage your money, or, oh gosh, no, I just lost it. Basically, you got to tell your money where to go, or it's just all going to be gone and you're not going to know what happened. So it's like, but having a schedule is like budgeting your time. And that was really helpful to me to think of it in terms of a budget. Brenda Martin, I want to say she has like 11 kids, and she was the more what I would consider like a type A scheduled person. And then BK was with her, and she was more of the like spontaneous free spirit. And so it really helped me to see the contrast. And it also helped me to see someone who is more on that free spirit side be like, no, I needed a schedule. When I got the schedule going, it helped me keep my sanity. I knew what to expect, and it was worth it. And that was really helpful for me to hear. So one of the phrases that they often use is if that is what you choose, meaning you have choices of where you're going to spend your time, but at where you spend that time is always a choice. It is a decision to put your time there. They gave a couple of like negative mindset titles that you could be possibly struggling with: crazy work queen, so like thinking workaholic, mom paralyzed by fears, and then overwhelmed victim. So then towards the end, they're telling you how to put some things in place that I'm fixing to mention to change those mindsets to a healthy place. So on the screen, which I'm going to pull this up real quick, we're going to send out the they're not, I guess, handouts, but like the PDFs that have the different topics. One of the big things that they talked about was having a shareholders meeting, which basically means talking with your husband, talking with your family. If you parent with like your parents, if grandparents are part of it, everyone working together as a team to talk about where they see Plexus going kind of as a family business. Like, how are we all going to make these things happen? Getting a spouse on board, getting the kids on board to like, this is when mommy works and I work because, and explaining those kind of things. And they give you a good guide of things to work through and talk about on that PDF that are really helpful. So they talked about that being one of the biggest things to do. Make sure that together in that meeting, you'll need to outline what your core values are for your family. And that can be different for every single family, and what your vision is for this business and what your vision is for your family to look like. One of the things they said is that you have to learn to say no. That's something we have all heard, but thinking about what you can remove, or at least remove for a season, so that you can grow. And I thought that was very, very helpful. One of the other things, I'm not 100% sure they mentioned it in this session, but it was talking, actually, I think it might have been Tracy Fogel or someone, I can't remember, or Sarah Nolenberg, but they mentioned where can you expand your capacity? So having a schedule or having a routine can expand your capacity for more relationships. And our business is based on people and relationships. And so I thought that was also something I took note of, to see what things are pulling from my capacity that maybe are sneaky and I don't realize it, to adjust those. They said good habits will serve you, but bad habits will burn you out and cause friction. I think that's something we all know, but we need to have it said straight to us like that. So one of the things that BK said was, do the basics to a high standard consistently. That is always going to be more powerful than intensity. That's, again, something we've heard, but when I heard it said that way, it feels so doable. To do the basics to a high standard consistently, that's going to make a huge difference in your business. One of the other things that they said is that procrastination is anti-discipline. And that felt like a big punch to my gut because I can be a major procrastinator. I like to tell myself, oh, well, I do a better job under pressure. That's not serving me well. That's also not making me be the mom I want to be, because I tend to be more cranky when I'm under pressure. So those are some things to think about. I had never thought of it that way. Procrastination is the killer of discipline. When you're planning your routine, one of the first things that BK said that she set was she looked at her schedule and set all the meal times. So at a very specific, like to the hour time, they did meals every day. And then she added something in next, like she gradually started with a skeleton of a routine and gradually added in. So she said to become aware of what tasks come easily to you. So those tasks that come easily to you, you might not want to schedule them at your peak hours of the day, because you want to do the hardest things when you are at your best capacity, if that makes sense. So that was the other thing, is knowing what time of day will work best for you. So she said, like, from 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, she would shut herself in her room. She would send her reach outs, because that was what was hard for her. At 8 o'clock, she came out, kids have had breakfast, and she felt like free to have her day with her kids until whatever next work session she had, because she knew what time that was coming. Of course, sometimes the wheels are going to fall off. When the wheels fall off, just get back on track as soon as you can. And it was helpful to hear Diamond say that, yes, even if they're very scheduled, the wheels fall off with them too. And it's okay. Just regroup, but don't do the thing where it's like, oh, I'll start again Monday. Start again as soon as you possibly can. Something else that they said that I thought was very interesting is good routine will take care of your mom guilt. I know a lot of us struggle with mom guilt, and I think what she means by that was, if you have your scheduled times planned out and you know that you're budgeting time to spend with your kids and be intentional with them, then you can work fully focused better during that time because you know you've already budgeted time for them. Does that make sense? Okay. One thing I'm almost done. One thing that I'm going to throw in there, and this is just from free tip, no, but just from a child development perspective, one of the things that I think works best if you have littles at home that you're trying to work while they're awake is to do some type of play or direct attention to them before you try to work so that they've been engaged, they've been enriched for a little while. Then they will be more likely to have a prolonged independent play. And just knowing that it takes time to teach your kids to play independently, but that's really good for them too. Almost done. One of the things that she said also is it's important to consider delegating things that you can. Can somebody else do them so it's off your plate? Also hiring help. She said you can't afford not to. So if that's like a mother's helper for a couple hours a week, someone to clean once a month or more, things like that. Brooke Hemingway said, you aren't actually broke. You just keep spending money on things that don't make you money. So thinking about if I was to pay someone to clean my house and I instead use that time to focus on my business, how much more money can I make during that time versus what I'm paying to have my house clean? Does that make sense? Looking at that value and knowing that it may take a little bit to see your investment pay off, but that can budget some more time in. And that takes a lot of creative thinking. Okay, the last thing she said, rally the troops. Let the kids help make an order countdown. Maybe if you're going for a rank, you have little sticky notes on the wall, all the orders you need, and they help you pull them off as you go. So making it like a fun family thing that helps them to be involved in the process, to learn about the process, but also to be patient with you when you have work you need to get done because they know mom's working towards something bigger. So that's what I took away from the setting your routine. And we are already working on it here at our house.
So good. I think the thing too that I love is that there are so many top leaders in our company whose biggest priority is their family, and they have great relationships with their family. They have great marriages. And I think that was something I was really hesitant about because I didn't want to put in a ton of work and have my family resent me or resent my business. And I think seeing that there are so many of us that have really healthy boundaries with really healthy habits, and really strong businesses, I think that's really encouraging. So Casey, thank you so much for sharing this. And again, we'll have these forms in the next couple days in Rising Jewels. And we'll head to, Lauren, this is a good one. The social media, we could talk about this one for days. Go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so if you don't have pen and paper, I'm going to give you just a second to grab that while I tell you that Tennessee is in the College World Series final game right now. So if I've seemed a little distracted, it's behind me. I live in Tennessee, you guys. I'm a Gator at heart, but my husband's a Tennessee fan. Okay, that being said, okay, there are three main, let me preface this by saying social media has been something that I feel like I have finally been getting really good at the past, I don't know, few months, and that I've had some help from like a social media professional and done some trainings on this. So I may add a little bit here and there on top of this as well. Okay, social media workshop with Amber Miller. She's adorable. If you don't, please go follow her on Facebook and Instagram because these two platforms run differently. And that's something you need to understand first. I personally do better on Facebook than Instagram. And she said the same thing for her new people. They do better in general on Facebook. It is more of like a relationship type website, whereas Instagram can be more harsh. These people are going to follow you and leave if they don't like something that they see without giving it a second thought. So we're going to start with Facebook on our three topics. The first thing that everyone needs to know is you do not need social media to be successful. You can do this without social media or with very little input to social media. But what this is going to do is build your business a year from now. So you are creating followers, creating value, getting people to like engage with you and to trust you more and more, so that a year from now, they have this relationship built up through social media where they want to engage and buy. Okay, so I have two things of notes because I just was like so excited about this. Facebook, there are this is her theory, 5 basic posts that you should be rotating through. And it's not like a 1 post a day kind of thing. She said you can do 2 to 3 posts in a day if you want. There is no really rhyme or reason to it, but approximately 31% of your friends will see each of your posts. And that's if they're a scroller. Okay. So if you think about it, if you post 3 times in one day, you have like a 93% chance that everyone's going to see something. All right. So if you have to think about that, like, okay, I did my 1 Plexus post every 3 days. How many people are seeing that? It's not typically as many as we tend to think. I know personally, I would look back and think, okay, well, I posted about this 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to post about that again. No, do it, because you don't know who saw that or who didn't. And the consistency in your posting is going to build a lot of trust for people. So those 5 things. Number 1, you and your face. You need to post something about you with your face. This is what people are creating a relationship to see. And you want to stack your photos, putting like 2 or 3 of them in each post so people feel like they're getting to know you. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take like 3 pictures of me doing different faces slightly in one screen, or I'll do like a picture of my face and then what I'm doing or talking about at the time. But you need to make it personal and relatable. Number 2. The second kind of post is recommendations or adding value. I know we talk about this a lot, but it needs to go beyond your Plexus. So this could be something that you're into. You could talk on a soapbox a lot about it. For me, it's like clean living and switching out chemicals and cleaners and things like that. So I could talk about what I'm using and share that link. So add value to somebody that is more than just Plexus. Number 3 is questions. And this would be like an interactive kind of based post. You want to ask something at the very bottom to get people engaged. And something that they did note is you really want to keep this lighthearted. The goal is not to like have an earth-shattering realization. Your goal here is to just get people to chit chat, because what's likely happening is somebody's on a break at work or sitting on the toilet or a break between kid things, and they're scrolling their phone and they're like, oh, I can type 1 word into that. Like, what's your favorite animal? Or what animal do you want to be at your heart? I think that's something along those lines is what she used. Like something silly or lighthearted that engages people. Because what that's going to do is people are going to comment on that, and Facebook's going to be like, oh, this is important, boost. And so the next time you post something, maybe it's about Plexus, more people are going to see that and it's going to pop up on their feed. Number 4, life or hobby. So this is where you start to get to know you. What is something personal about yourself that you can post about? For me, it's all the crazy things that I do, like making homemade butter or making beer bread or tending my garden, and the huge, okay, hold on, you guys, look at this. This is hilarious. And it's the beginning of the season. This is a huge zucchini. That's not even the biggest one. Anyway, moving on. So sharing something about like my son holding a zucchini and a picture of the garden or the zucchini before I picked it. Lots of different photos relating to the same thing. Next is a Plexus post, but it kind of just goes beyond your like, here, take a picture of this new Restore. And what people want to hear is your your experience with the products. So yes, you could post a little picture of the Restore, but hold the drink or sipping your mug, and hiding behind it. That would be something that I do. Bring your personality out into this, because that's what people want to get to know. Try to use your own photos instead of just the ones that they post everywhere. Those beautiful photos that I'm always searching for, but no, people want real. They want the reality. So you're going to use this kind of cycle to build your profile, and it's great for scrolling. Okay, so topic number 2, stories. This can be, so for me, the way that I personally do stories is I link my Instagram to my Facebook, because Instagram has more capability than Facebook stories typically do. It's totally fine though if you only do it in your Facebook stories. So this is how you convert people to customers or business builders. Your customers are created in your stories. This is how people create trust. They find value in what you're doing every day. And then you really want to create a sense of FOMO. Oh my goodness, I forgot to check out their stories. What did she post about today? So it's like, this is a bad term, but like clickbait, right? You want to be clicking on their stories and engaging. The way that she described it, it's like reality TV, not like in the bad, crazy Kardashians, but in like HGTV sense. You get value from it and you're wanting to see what is the next thing that they're doing. Okay, let's talk nitty gritty. How do we do a story? The way that you're going to do a story is you're going to take a picture of whatever it is with space. So for instance, if I was going to post this, my frame to my stories, I would do this. And that way I could put all my captions here to the right without being like here and right over my face because you're missing the whole point. So you want to strategically take these pictures. And I know this seems kind of trivial, but the more you do it, the more it's just going to be natural and you'll start being able to incorporate that very easy. She also said, please do not post more. Well, she prefers, I should not say that. She prefers not to put more than 3 talking slides in a row. So you can do up to a minute. And the reason is people are losing focus. If you are going to do a talking slide, my personal recommendation is do the captions because when I'm scrolling, it's in bed at night when the lights are out. My husband's trying to sleep next to me. I am not listening to anything, but I will read it. So if I think it's funny or engaging or I like the person, I will read the captions. If you're going to do more than 3 1-minute segments, just go live. Just do a live on your Facebook because the people who really follow you are going to go and they're going to watch that. She did not recommend using polls except in like one circumstance. So your primary goal is you want people to pop into your DMs. And the way you do that is the question box on Instagram. So if you like talk about something for a couple slides, the last slide can be an engagement slide, which is the question box, because when somebody answers that, they're going to pop into your stories. And by the way, this is a really great tip for somebody who may have ghosted you and they haven't been responding to your Facebook messages. You go to their stories and make a comment on one of their posts and you're going to pop into their DMs. They're going to go and read it. And sometimes they'll go back to see, oh my goodness, I forgot to respond to them. Okay. So she talked about Plexus story sets. You want to do these at the same time for multiple days in a row, but give it 24 hours kind of between each one. So there's going to be a personal picture. I'm going to list these out slowly in case you want to write these down. You're going to personal picture. You're going to present a problem. Next slide, you're going to present a solution. And then here is where she breaks her rule and she uses a poll. So personal slide, problem, solution, poll, using Plexus in there. But the key is it's personally relatable. So not just talking about this product and what it does, but share testimony, talk about your testimony, use graphics, use pictures of yourself, do the whole like text here with the main person to the side. When they click the poll, you go and you respond, hey, thanks for clicking my poll. I'd love to send you some recommendations. Tell me what you're struggling with. Simple, to the point. Sometimes I get a lot of people where I strategically place my polls where they might just be clicking through and maybe they click on accident. But this gives me an opportunity to reach out and be like, hey, I don't know if you meant to or not, but thanks for your support of my Facebook poll. What are your thoughts on blank? Or do you struggle with blank like I did? You know, and even if they're like, oh no, I accidentally clicked on that, or my son must have done that. They're like, oh, that's okay. Is this something you might be interested in? You just kind of want to keep the conversation going. Okay. Something else she recommended was don't over filter your photos. People can tell when you when you swipe over to like the Paris and Las Vegas filters and whatnot. You don't want to be too orange. She was laughing like, oh, I can't use anything from, I don't know, 2020 or something because she was orange in all her photos because she over filtered them. We talked about that. Okay, so if your engagement, if you've noticed you're going back, when you post a story, what I typically do is I'll post like my personal, the problem, the solution, but I take maybe 10 to 15 slides to do it. 24 hours, it's going to go away. So at 23 hours, I'm going to set an alarm on my phone to go back and check. And you can kind of peruse the list. I used to write it down. I don't anymore. But you can peruse that list and kind of see how many people are watching, who's watching, and get an idea for that. And if you notice that number has started to go down, this is your technique you're going to use. You are going to stop for 24 hours, nothing on there, completely let it run through. And then your first story will have a question in it. And so this is kind of how you're going to re-engage Facebook, like, oh, this is important stuff. Some people are going to start answering that question. Remember, keep it lighthearted, and they're going to engage and start showing it. All right, moving on to topic number 3, and this is the good old Instagram, and she called it the wild, wild west. Her number 1 tip for this, and people have varying opinions on this, but this was just Amber's tip, was do not niche. So when you niche, like for instance, you only talk about one thing, that's all you talk about all the time, people come there for that. The danger in that is that you do have this specific market, but you're missing out on a lot of other things. She said we should view Instagram as a magazine. So it's more like a container of a kind of person that you are. So for me, it might be Crunchy Mom magazine, or Wannabe Homesteader, but don't really want to put in the effort kind of magazine, you know, or Joanna Gaines, whatever I'm going to pick up and find interesting. Yeah, she's, like I said, Kim, there are different thoughts on this, but her idea is not to niche. So it's more of like this container of who you are as a person. And some other trainings that I've done have called this your umbrella. All right, you have this big umbrella and there's different strands coming down, you know, the points that come from the umbrella. And you are going to list out different things that interest you. So for instance, like I said, crunchy living with ridding the house of chemicals. So I post about that. I post about relationship advice, whether that be with my marriage or my kids, or ways to engage toddlers at home. And then you create more of a broad topic to talk about all the time on Instagram. And that's how you're going to pull people in. It's like if they're going to flip through the magazine and they're going to learn all about whatever you are in your life. Everybody's going to pick up a different one. So what do you find in a magazine? You're going to find helpful articles, tips, the lists of 10 or your list of 3 or whatever. ChatGPT. If you want to know more about that, just message me. I would be happy to help you with that. You can literally say, I'll give you a quick blurb. Hello, I'm a network marketer and my target audience is blank. My pillars are blank, and I would like a list of 3 things that I can do around the house to help entertain my toddlers. And it will come up with a list, and you can say, like that one, don't like that one. And you use that in your post. So if you're having a brain fog day, that's another way you can do it. Okay, so I think that was all like the significant notes that I took, but you guys, social media, you're building your business a year from now. This is how you're going to draw the people in.
So good. We could have an entire like training on this, and maybe we will soon, because it was really, really good. But we are 15 minutes over our allotted time, and that's my fault. I went longer in the beginning, so that's my fault. Kylie's gonna go next. She said she can do hers in like 30 seconds, and then we'll just kind of breeze through the last 2 or 3 that we have. We want to show you the incentives and trips so you are prepared and you know what you're doing too as we end this call. So Kylie, go ahead.
Okay, Christina Williams and Brittany Howard, the PDFs are on your Plexus Go app. Even if you weren't at convention, you can just go to the magnifying glass and type in breakouts, and it will show you the PDFs that were shared also from like the Casey's deal from the Mama thing, as well as the Reaching for Jewel. And so the PDFs in there are bomb. You can hit save and share. So the biggest things is one, that they have like Confident Conversations, part 1 and 2. They're PDF guides. Read through those and you'll appreciate their systems. They have great systems in play. Doesn't mean you have to copy and paste it for yourself. Like what you like, don't like what you don't like, take what you want and go from there. Also knowing that you've got 1 yes for every 10 messages. And so like knowing that that is super helpful and simplified to help with your team building, that you're creating that standard. And so that just helps to already go over objections. And then Brianna actually put this in the post or in the text at the bottom. but they said, you know, what if it's not what you need to do, but what if it's who you need to become? And I did appreciate that. The same thing with like Janira, I think I said your name correctly, but that that it's really who are you becoming, and then work from there. That's the same thing as the 10x is greater than 2x. So it really does all kind of come together. And then judging my team by their gains. So instead of like looking to the left, to the right, comparing and all the things, I appreciated it as like the same thing with the gap and the gain. If you haven't read that yet, to do so. But really appreciating each person for their value that they have to add, how far they've come, and then really speaking that life into each person, because that helps them to be able to see what you see from that positive aspect, and know how to vision cast for where they are going. And then if you want to become a confident Jewel, personal development, that is like a non-negotiable. And so just get good with whether it's audiobooks or podcasts or Zoom calls or anything like that. But all of those, even if you listen for only 5 or 10 minutes a day, something that sets you in the right mindset so that you can lead well. And leading well starts with leading yourself. Don't get to the point where you have someone, you go, they said yes to the business, now what? Well, this is like the perfect opportunity for you to lead for yourself, and then it'll cascade from there. So that's what I got.
I think the beautiful thing is that we're seeing so many of the same things being said, but in different ways and from different people. And I mean, the thing that we're hearing so much is add value to people, see people, build people up, have courage, do things with excellence, and there will be success that comes from that. So I really, really love that, because this team knows how to love people well. Okay, go ahead, Sarah Jo. She's going to talk real quick about a few points that she liked from the breakout for the new ambassadors to Senior Gold. And then we've got 2 more, Hannah and myself. Go ahead, Sarah Jo.
So this was really great. There's several things that I absolutely loved, and I'm not going to go and like identify who said it or whatever, but like if you want to know, message me and I'll let you know who said it. But one of the statements that was made is, I did not let the distractions or disruptions deter me from the dream. And I thought that was fantastic. So I'm rewording that, and I'm writing it down and saying, I will not let the distractions or disruptions deter me from the dream. And so switching that to making it more applicable to where I am in my business, I just loved that statement. The other thing, again, like I said, I'm just kind of jumping down, was the idea to embrace the detour. Like, I love that sometimes when we get stuck and we are like in a specific spot in our business for longer than we think we should be there, like, embrace the detour. We are there. And you guys said it earlier, we were talking about like stuff doesn't grow on the mountaintops, right? Embrace the detour. That is your growth season. As the next speaker talked about, that is your becoming era. And that is so important to us to be the leaders we need to be the diamonds we need to be. We have to have a becoming era. And if you listen to all of the different stories from these different diamonds and different speakers, they've all had their becoming era or eras. And so that's really important. So I love that. Embrace the detour. Embrace it when it's not going the way you think it should, or when you don't go, it's not going the way you thought it would. And my final one, because we're running out of time here, is mental squats are hard, but they're better than dead dreams. And I just loved that, because I hate squats in the sense of like over time, like I hate doing squats, but they're so important and they're so good for you, and they work on so many different things. Mental squats are hard, but they are better than dead dreams. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not about dead dreams. I got plenty of them, and we're going to make them happen. So enjoy your becoming era, and embrace the detours, and continue to remind yourself that you will not let distractions or disruptions deter you from your dream. So that's what I got.
So good. So good. Slam dunk. Okay, Hannah, if you want to speak real quickly on the Jewel breakout, you can, or we can pass through it, whatever you think.
I'll just share that Jill Renfro was part of our Jewel breakout, and she brought the heat as she normally does. I felt like she was talking right to me. And the biggest thing that she said was, you turn your finger around and you point to yourself. You don't look at any other excuses or reasons or buts, but you like literally just take ownership over yourself, do a business audit. So that could look like, where's your posting at? Where's your energy at? Are you preaching to your team and you're not doing your own thing? Where's your vision? Because you can't be high energy if your vision is floundering. And if you have a goal of creating a business, then you are going to need to develop leaders and workers, but that's not happening if you are just complacent and comfortable. And so she had spoke about her journey, how she went back to comfortable, where she did an occasional post. She stopped talking about the income and the business. And then she found that disconnect after casting a lot of blame and taking that ownership over herself. So I think we all can come back to that at some point and just figure out the things that we know we need to be doing and do them.
Yeah, I wanted Hannah to share about Jill because it like speaks to any rank. Like it speaks to any level here. And she said, I'm the leader of my legacy. And one of the things that she talked about was that she had just this imposter syndrome. Like she had hit the rank that she was going for. And then her team just stopped. And I think she said at one point she was diamond, and at one point she was like 5 points above emerald. So she was like 1505. So she went backwards really, really far. Hold on, I'll look at that in just a second. And so she had this imposter syndrome, and she, like Hannah was saying, like had this, she felt comfortable. She was sad, but she stopped talking about the business. She just didn't really work. She didn't get into action. She kind of like sulked for a long time, and that her vision was not aligning with her actions. And so she said, like, this is a legacy business that's affecting my family or your family, as well as many other families. So like Hannah said, pointing the finger back to her and like figuring out, what am I doing? How can I get back to basics? How can I bring energy? How can I have fun? How can I be a role model? And so those are all things that we can do at any rank here. You guys are amazing. I've got the last little bit here for the incentives and earn trips. So just in case you did not see it, our next convention is going to be in June. I want to say June 17th. And it's going to be in Dallas, which I'm so pumped about because I shared this with a couple of people in Dallas or in Vegas, that Marian Anderson, who is like mega diamond, her mom came to convention last year with her in Nashville to help watch Marianne's daughter. Her mother was not at all interested in Plexus, wasn't interested in the business. I don't even think she was a customer. I don't think. The mother came to convention in Vegas this year as an emerald. And so I am really excited about Dallas because so many of our team is within driving distance. And think about who you can bring that may not even be interested, or they may not be a customer right now, and where could they be a year from then? So there is a $99 special that goes until July 31st. That is incredible because that pays for your registration for convention, and that $99 also combines with Super Saturday tickets, so you don't have to pay extra for Super Saturday. So $99. So register now before that price changes. Then you guys can see here, look at how fun this is. I'm so excited. There's strategy here. So this is our next leaders retreat contest is going to be for another earned cruise. And we're going to be going to Key West, the Bahamas, I'm sure a few other places, I can't remember, but this was the first cruise that Hannah, Kara, and I ever earned, and it was the most fun. And so I want to share this with you guys because the contest, be aware, it's going to start September of this year. So in just like 2 or 3 months is when our contest starts. But I'm going to tell you, and I don't know if I should tell you this, probably shouldn't, but I'm going to because I want us to be ready. The way the contest is going to be is you're going to be getting credits on retention. So I encourage you to make sure that you're signing people this month and in July and in August, because guess what's going to happen? You're going to start getting retention credits for the people that you signed in July. Hang on one second, honey. So, and when you sign people in July, you're going to start getting those credits in September to front load you and your points to earn this trip, this incredible trip for 2 on this cruise. And that cruise will be in February of 25. And then I think this is the last thing is that the Alaskan cruise was announced for our Emerald Extravaganza and Diamond Destination. That's going to be in September of 25. I know we're sharing a lot of dates here, but you can earn it starting. The contest starts in August, which is in just 2 months, you guys. And what that means is if you can get, hey, you guys, come on out. If you can get to Emerald in that month, or anywhere from August of 24 until July of 25, you've earned this Alaskan cruise for 2. Incredible. So I know a lot of people on our team were saying, I feel new life coming on. I have new focus. I am going to be on that cruise, that Alaskan cruise, as an Emerald ambassador. I'm going to earn that Bahama cruise for me and my spouse. I am committed and I'm doing this. And just like Hannah said, like just turning the finger around and just saying, I'm the legacy of my business. It starts with me. So I believe so many of our team can be there because we have the cream of the crop. Lastly, we have some incentives. Just remember that the end of this month, it's from, I think, June 20th to June 30th. If you add 4 VIPs with 125 PV, so that is an asterisk because it's not every new VIP gets 125 PV. So keep that in mind, that it has to be 4 VIPs from July. It says July. It's supposed to say June. I'm sorry, you guys. It's supposed to say June. From June 20th to June 30th. So the next couple days, if you can get 4 with 125 PV, you get to pick out an incredible pair of Ray-Bans. And I think that's all I have. That was a whole lot. I'm going to end this. Does anybody have any thoughts, any questions, anything you want to share before we jump off? That was a whole lot, but I was really encouraged seeing so many people talk about how this was really helpful for them. If there are certain things that were shared, like Casey's with the mothering thing with all of her documents, or the social media, or the 10X, any of those things that you're like, I would really love to hear more information about that, send me a message and maybe we can have a couple people do a more concentrated Zoom training over those particular things. Thank you all who committed to sharing. I know this took up some time preparing and sharing, and I know this is the longest call we've probably ever had in 7.5 years, but I'm so thankful you guys were all on. Thank you guys so much for being on. Hop off, and we will see you next week for Keith Callahan's call and this Thursday for the opportunity event. Bye, you all.